What's going on, everyone? My name is Alpha, and today we're back with another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Radical Red, and today's challenge be can I beat Pokemon Radical Red default mode 3.1 update, whatever you want to call it, using only egg encounters only. A little interesting challenge. We've done kind of similar challenge in the past. We've done viable Pokemon, but now we're just gonna strictly do only eggs. So Pokemon we hatch out of eggs are the only ones we could use on our team. And there's a lot of eggs, not a lot at the start, so it's going to be very difficult going through this entire challenge. I'm trying to make it as difficult as possible without having to dipping my toes into hardcore mode, because hardcore mode is just a pain. I am working on a hardcore mode video very soon. I'll get that out next week. Today we're going to do default mode, and we're just going to try to beat Radical Red. An additional rule to this, like always, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments, so thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down here, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. And let's get into the challenge video. To start off with, as you can see in the background, we just got to get through the first few routes of the game until we get to Pewter City. In Pewter City, that's going to be the first egg merchant we have access to. And this egg merchant has to be good enough. It has to be a good enough Pokemon that beats both Falkner and also Brock. So you have to kind of think about how you can go around this. I was thinking on Aaron. Aaron's not a bad Pokemon. Unfortunately, though, does not beat Brock at all, because Brock has Bodos as a move, so I have to restart. Honedge was a good choice, but it's still too slow and doesn't do enough damage. I actually have to reference back to an older video I did with the viable Pokemon. The Pokemon that can beat Falkner and Brock at the same time is actually a Mienfoo. Mienfoo has the ability to Force Palm, paralyze the opposing Pokemon, and lets me set up with Meditate. And from there, I can survive an attack from the Mocha and actually knock out the Mocha and outspeed his Corvus Squire, and that will allow me to beat down Falkner, and then we're gonna actually be able to face off against the gym leader. Now, getting through Brock is actually more of a pain because we have to get very lucky and also paralyze down his Onix to the point where it cannot attack me for 2 turns and knock him up before he's able to do any damage to me. And then from there, we're actually able to outspeed his Archon because we didn't take a Bodos or anything. We're able to knock out the Archon and also the Vulpix. Finally, took a long time, but we're able to beat down Brock and get our first gym badge of the game. From there, we're actually able to go out and face off against Mount Moon, which there's no new encounters for us just yet, but we're able to clear through both the mini bosses not too badly. Takes a few attempts, you can't go through one run, but from there we can go into Saladon City, and there's a few good Pokemon we can get from this egg merchant specifically. I was thinking of Frillish. Unfortunately, every single encounter you get from the egg merchant, I think it's always going to be a hidden ability, which we don't want for Frillish because that thing has Damp as a hidden ability. We want his regular ability, which is Water Absorb. That's the best one, so we can't actually use Frillish, which I was kind of excited to use Jellicent, because in this game I've been bodied by Jellicent in hardcore mode a lot. But Pokemon I decided to stop on is actually Lopunny, or Baneri. Baneri evolves into Lopunny, which is a strong Pokemon to start off the game with, especially in the second gym. It's a fully evolved Pokemon with fully evolved grown stats. So we're going to start the battle off against the second gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Misty next. Misty's the water type gym leader of the game, and we can start the battle off against her using my Mienfoo. We're gonna fake out and then go for a rock tomb to outspeed the Frogadier, which will force her to switch out into her Starmie for some reason, and that will allow me to get a Force Palm and a Paralyze on him. And then I could go out into my Lopunny after sacking my Mienfoo. I'm allowed to get 2 power punches with 2 paralyze on it, and that will allow me to just sweep the entire battle as I'm able to return, knock out the Starmie, knock out the Floatzel, and knock out the Lantern in 2 shots, as you can see. And from there, I can Mach Punch the Frogadier and knock him out, and we end up beating Misty pretty easily just from that. From there, we can move out into Vermilion City after going through Nugget Bridge, which surprisingly wasn't too difficult at all. We could go into Vermilion City and get our 3rd egg, which isn't gonna be the best Pokemon, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's so many good options, and I don't know why I stopped and picked Stunfisk as my encounter for this egg. I don't know why. I thought it was a good choice for this gym. I ran through the gym multiple times. It was not good. It did not beat anything at all. It beats, I think, the Manectric. That's about it. But it couldn't do anything else. I have to go forwards into Saladon City and actually skip Lieutenant Surge for now. Once we head into Saladon City, we have to go back and get ourselves some red shards and also some blue shards, which will get us some new eggs, which will contain the starter Pokemon. So we exchanged our shards for a bunch of starter Pokemon. I just went with the first 3 Pokemon I could find, which is going to be Scorbunny, which is going to be Fennekin, and the final Pokemon will be a Piplup. Interesting choices of Pokemon I have for now, but these are going to be the 6 Pokemon I have for a little bit until I get another option. From there, I'm gonna go face off against Lieutenant Surge, and with a full team, I'm able to beat him down pretty easily. As you see, my Mienshao, which evolves super early in this game, which is a smart decision. Mienshao is able to beat down the Pink Urchin. From there, I'm able to go into my Breaksin to do a lot of damage against the Vigavo, and also allow my Reboots to basically knock down Bolton for me. And then against the Manectric, Stunfisk has a job and is able to knock out the Manectric for me. And from there, I'm able to knock out the Raichu as well. And we end up beating Lieutenant Surge and quickly move on into Saladon City's gym leader, which is going to be Erica. Erica is going to be the grass type gym leader of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my God Squad Cinderace, which is going to Pyro Ball. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's my favorite Pokemon to use in Pokemon Unite as well. I'm able to knock down her Rillaboom and also her Superior as I get a burn from it. And unfortunately, I have to sack it against the Electrode's Explosion. And then unfortunately, somehow this works out for Erica as I lose also my Delphox against the Mega Venusaur. And I had to struggle a lot using my Lopunny as I'm able to Power Punch and return him, eventually wake up, return knockout the Venusaur, and then her next Pokemon will be a Meganium, which will go out into my Mienshao, into my Empoleon to Flash Cannon and knock him out eventually, and we end up beating Erica, which I don't know what kind of battle this was, but at least we beat down Erica, and now we can move on. We're going to replace our Stunfisk because it's a Stunfisk and they should have gave this an evolution, I'm not going to lie. We're going to get ourselves an egg that will be an interesting Sevi Island form. We had a Sevi Island Teddy Ursa, which will evolve into an Ursaring, which is Ghost and Fighting type. Interesting, at the very least. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni in his own base. We get beat up by Giovanni pretty badly, but we're able to beat him down and move on from there. We also beat down our rival at Silph and also have a rematch against Giovanni, which isn't too difficult. His first fight actually did more to me. From there, we can move on and face off against Sabrina next. Sabrina will be the psychic gym leader in the game and also be a double battle fight. So we're going to start the battle off against her using my new Ghost Ursaring. I really like Ursaring. Ever since I've seen Paul's Ursaring, I just love Ursaring because it's just so vicious. It's super cool. I also have my Mienshao out as well. I'm going for a Shadow Punch to deny the Hattering's Trick Room and Rock Slide to do some damage against both of them. We end up getting a flinch against the Indeedee, and I guess it just allows me to high jump kick it in the following turn and Shadow Punch to Gardevoir, which they gets a double KO. Because I have Reckless on my Mienshao. Also, it's just a really strong move anyways. I know the Ursaluna is gonna obviously go for a Protect, so I just double attack into the Crawdon to knock him out. And unfortunately, I do lose a Pokemon in this fight. Normally I don't, but I miss a high jump kick. He gets a Trick Room off against me. Unfortunately, I lose my Mienshao. I go out into my Empoleon, and unfortunately, I also lose my Empoleon, but my Ursaring is able to clutch up and beat down the Ursaluna for us as we get our 5th gym badge of the game. And now we go through the Gauntlet, which is going to be Cycling Road, which I am more thankful that I go through Cycling Road than the other route. Going through Route 25 which is a more of a pain than I've ever thought. I've tried to do it once or twice, it was not working. It was just an awful route. But once we get through Cycling Road, we're able to go into the Safari Zone and get ourselves a Lopunny, which will allow us to Mega Evolve our Lopunny. It makes it super great and also attacks Ghost type Pokemon because they have Scrappy. From there, I am going to face off against Koga next, which is going to be the 6th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Empoleon to 2-shot into a Swallow, and then his following Pokemon will be a Dragapult, which I go out to my Cinderace, take a hefty Shadow Ball, and then Sucker Punch twice into him to knock him out at the very least. His next Pokemon will be a Drapion. I sack my Cinderace, which I don't know why, because I really like Cinderace. From there, I can switch out into my Lopunny to fake out into the Greninja, Power Punch it, and knock him out in one shot. Jeez, this thing's powerful. I also live a Wicked Blow from the Drapion, high jump kick it to knock him out, and then the Lopunny unfortunately goes down to the Selgor, but I go out into my Delphox to Flamethrower into the Toxicity, and I actually knock him out. Well, 2-shot knocks him out, and then his final Pokemon will be this poor Selgor, which I obviously knock out, and we end up beating down Koga and get our 6th gym badge. From there, we can move out and face off against Price, which isn't too hard of a battle. As you see, Cinderace is the strongest Pokemon. I also get the hidden ability Cinderace to get Libero on it, so yeah, basically protein. From there, I could face off against Jasmine, which I don't really know why I did this, because I don't think I ever used the Choice Band anymore like that, but we end up being Jasmine. And then we can face off against Blaine next. Blaine is going to be the fire type gym leader of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Hypnosis Delphox to Psychic twice into the Torkoal, deny the rocks, and then sack it against the Cinderace. I guess I didn't have a use for him, but I do get a Shadow Claw and Shadow Sneak off against him, and eventually he knocks himself out with a Life Orb, which, I mean, that works out for us. From there, I go out to my Empoleon. Bad play, but I sack it against the Sunfloro, so that wasn't fun. My Lopunny comes out. At least this thing will knock out the Sunfloro, with a high jump kick. Also knocks out the Typhlosion for me with a power punch and then a high jump kick to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be Executor, which I knocked down to low HP. I go out to my Mienshao to knock him out, and then his final Pokemon will be a Charizard Y, which I don't live an Air Slash from, but I go out to my Cinderace, and lucky enough, I bounce and paralyze him. He gets the Air Slash off against me, and I just had to bounce again, and I end up knocking off the Charizard, and we get our 7th Gym Badge of the game. Who knew Bounce Cinderace was the strongest Pokemon in this game? From there, we're going to face off against both Ariana and Archer here. Pretty bad fight for me because I lose a lot of Pokemon, also lose my Delphox at the end. But lucky enough, Cinderace will actually clutch up against the Durant, and then at the very end, against Ariana, we're able to Power Ball into the Mawile and finish them off. And face off against Giovanni next, which isn't too hard of a battle, as you can see. We do get it down just to the Mewtwo. Switch out into my Ghost and Fighting type, which will get a Shadow Sneak on him. He can't knock me out. He has to focus one of us down, and we end up knocking him out, and we end up beating Giovanni. Moving on into the 8th gym, we face off against Claire next. Just to bait in her Aerodactyl, I go out to my Empoleon to Scald and Aqua Jet, avoid any Stealth Rocks or any damage at all. From there, she switches out to her Magearna, which I don't know about this one. I decided to go out into my Cinderace, which probably was the best play anyways. She goes for a Shift Gear and Flare Cannon, which obviously I live, and then a Pyro Ball does not knock her out, which is surprising. Sucker Punch will knock her out, and then the next Pokemon will be a Naganadel, which I get some decent damage with obviously Sucker Punch. From there, I can go out into my Lopunny, which will fake out into the Dragonite, so I can switch out into my Empoleon, which will do a lot more damage. Skull Burn him for some reason. I don't have Ice Beam for some reason, but then I could go out into my Lopunny against Dragovich, which knocks out my Empoleon. I'm able to Power Punch into its face and Quick Attack to knock out the rest of the team basically, as I'm able to knock out the Dragovich, the Dragonite, and also the Naganadel with Quick Attack, and then I outspeed the Duraludon, high jump kick it, and knock it out, and we get our 8th gym badge of the game. Pretty simple. From there, we're going to face off against a rival, which isn't too difficult. We face off against both of them. The last Brendan fight you'll ever see. And there it goes. We end up beating Brendan, and we go through Victory Road, which isn't too difficult anymore. The only hard part about Victory Road is actually consuming PP, which, as you can see, I ran out a high jump kick near the end. I crashed. Unfortunately, I don't have enough high jump kicks. If I actually didn't miss the first one, I would have actually swept this person, but I'm able to knock out the Aldino and sweep through the Victory Road pretty easily. From there, we're going to face off against Lorelei next. Lorelei is going to be the Ice type Elite Four member because I never faced off against her Water team apparently. But anyways, we're going to start the battle off against her using my Mienshao and also my Cinderace. Cinderace obviously has a Choice Scarf on, so I'm able to Pyro Ball, knock out the Glaceon, fake out to avoid the Aurora Veil, in the next turn Pyro Ball to knock out the Ninetales, and High Jump Kick into the Rotom. Does a lot of damage, almost knocks him out in one shot. Should have put a Muscle Band. Thinking back to it, should have put a Muscle Band. But from there, I'm able to just go for a Power Ball against the Rotom, and I go for a Rock Slide against the Azumarill, trying to see if I could get a flinch. It ends up knocking out my Mienshao, which is pretty bad. She then switches out to her Abomasnow, which is pretty powerful. For some reason, she went for a Focus Blast, and I dodge it, so I'm able to Power Ball, knock out the Abomasnow, do a lot of damage to the Azumarill, and the Azumarill doesn't want to knock out my Cinderace for some reason. From there, she switches out to her Calyrex, which I'm just going to focus on faking out and Power Balling. I do a lot of damage to him, and my Lopunny goes down. So a lot of Pokemon are going down, except my Cinderace, which is the one that's knocking out everything on her team. I get a Shadow Sneak to knock out this Calyrex, and finally my Cinderace goes down. But that's the end of the battle, as my Ursaring and my Empoleon against her Azumarill. So we end up knocking out her Azumarill and knocking out Lorelei. From there, we can face off against Bruno next. Bruno is going to be the Fighting type Elite Four member of the game. Pretty easy fight. We're going to bait in the Infernape and just Scald and Aqua Jet it to knock him out. His next Pokemon is going to be Exhaustion. It's going to one-shot my Empoleon. I'm completely fine with that. I go out into my Choice Scarf Delphox to Flamethrower and crit it to knock him out. And that should be the end of the battle, essentially. From there, I go out to my Mienshao. I'm able to High Jump Kick into the Komoro to knock him out. I don't know why he just damaged himself twice to lower his HP stat. From there, I'm able to High Jump Kick twice into the Conkeldurr to knock him out as well. Finally, the Urshifu will stop my Mienshao, but the damage has already been done, as I'm able to go out to my Lopunny to fake out and then High Jump Kick it to knock him out. Oh no, it goes for a close combat and knock me out, but I go out to my Cinderace and knocks him out finally. And then her final opponent will be Lucario. It knocks out my poor Cinderace, but I have a Choice Scarf Delphox to knock him out, and we end up beating Bruno. Really easy fight. From there, we're going to face off against Agatha next. Agatha's going to start the battle off against us using a Zoroark. I'm able to knock him out with a Pyro Ball. Sucker Punch ends up knocking out the Zoroark pretty easily. Her next moment will be a Marshadow. I get some chip damage off against her, but it's not going to be enough as I go out to my Delphox. flamethrower for some reason. I'm not too sure why. I know the Spectre comes out next. It's going to want to Shadow Ball. So I go out to my normal type. I'm able to fake it out. Actually catch the Gengar as I fake it out. And then go for a Power Punch as I know I live any move. Quick attack to knock out the Gengar. And then the Spectre comes out. It's going to Hidden Power me. I don't even know what Hidden Power that is, but I'm able to survive a Hidden Power with my Delphox. Two-shot the Spectre as she actually avoids it and goes out to a Silver Valley. I go to my Mean Shell, which will one-shot it. Her Aegislash comes on next. I go for a knockoff. This actually ends up knocking me out somehow. She doesn't go for a King Shield at all as I go for a Flamethrower to knock her out. And then her final Pokemon will be a Spectre. It knocks me out, but I do have Shadow Sneak on my Ursaring to knock him out. And we end up beating down Acti. Next up, we're going to face off against the fourth and final Elite Four member before the champion. We're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is going to start the battle off against us using a very bait Aerodactyl. We're going to Scald and Aqua Jet it to knock him out pretty easily. He then switches out to his Primal Dialga for no reason, so I decided to go out to my Cinderace. I take a hefty Flamethrower, but I'm able to do a little chip damage. It roar turns me out into the Mian Shell. I get a Fake Out, and then a High Jump Kick will actually knock out the Dialga. From there, he switches out into a Salamence, which I don't really have an answer for, so I sack my Cinderace, which, I mean, I get a Sucker Punch off against it, but that's about it. Then I'm going to go out to my Lopunny to get more chip damage, and then sack my Ursaring. Maybe it wasn't the best play, but I could go out into my Lopunny next, Fake Out and Quick Attack to knock out the Salamence. His next Pokemon will be a Dragonite, which I decided to go out into my Empoleon, which does have Ice Beam. I go for a Scald instead and catch the Dragovich on a burn. So that's actually a great play from me. And then I go out to my Lopunny next, catch a Fisherman, which poorly executed, but I'm able to High Jump Kick into the Dragonite to break its multi-scale. That was not planned. So I decided to go out into my Empoleon once again. Since multi-scale is broken, I could go for an Ice Beam, which I don't do. I decided to go out to my Mian Shell against the Melmetal, and I'm able to High Jump Kick it and not knock him out. From there, I could go out for a Power Punch against him, sack my Lopunny to the Dragonite, and finally get an Ice Beam on the Dragonite. There we go, we finally get it. A Dragovich is his last Pokemon. I'm able to Scald. I'm able to do some chip damage and then go out into my Delphox next, which will outspeed and Psychic to knock him out. Finally, we end up beating Lance. That battle was a lot of turns and twists that I don't remember doing. From there, we're going to face off against the champion of the game. We're going to face off against our rival. Our rival's going to start the battle off against us using a Pheromosa. We're going to go to our Ursaring for some reason and Shadow Claw crit the Eternatus, which pretty nice play. From there, it's going to Dynamax Cannon me. Almost knocks me out, but I'm able to survive and then Shadow Sneak into him to knock him down to low HP, which will allow me to go out into basically anything I want. I go out to Lopunny to Fake Out and obviously Quick Attack it to knock him out. I took a Dynamax Cannon. I don't know why I didn't Quick Attack. I Power Punch for some reason. From there, I could High Jump Kick into the Yveltal, do a lot of damage to him, and sack my Mega Lopunny, which bad play. A lot of bad plays going on. From there, I go out to my Mian Shell to High Jump Kick and knock out the Yveltal, and the Pheromosa comes on next. I decided to go out into my Delphox, which was a bad play because it U-turns and does a lot of damage to me. I have to go out into my Cinderace next, but luckily enough, Cinderace is actually able to Sucker Punch and knock out the Diddle for me, so it works for me pretty well. From there, I'm just getting Bounce on the Groudon, and lucky enough, every time I use Bounce, it always gives me a Paralyze, so we're just going to take that. Unfortunately, he's going to knock me out, but I could go out into my Mian Shell and just High Jump Kick, and then it gets Paralyzed, and I'm able to High Jump Kick again to knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Metagross, which I don't know what to do at this point. I went for a High Jump Kick. It does a lot of damage, and then I can switch out into my Delphox to Flamethrower, knock out the Metagross. And then his last Pokemon will be a Pheromosa, which I survive a U-turn. Flamethrower to knock him down to red HP because of the Focus Sash. And I could go out to my Empoleon with Aqua Jet as long as it doesn't get paralyzed. And I'm able to Aqua Jet to knock him out. And we end up beating Blue, our rival of the game. And we end up beating the champion. And we end up beating Radical Red 3.1 with only egg encounters. Now, obviously, like I said, the beginning of the game is actually the hardest part of the game, obviously, because I was stuck with like one Pokemon for each gym for a long time, and it was very annoying. But we actually ended up pulling out the win. If I was thinking back to it, if I got Lopunny in the first gym, I think that would have saved a lot of time, because this run took about 3-ish hours. Most of that was trying to restart for a bunch of egg encounters, and also restarting at the beginning when my Mienfoo wasn't able to get the Lux. It needed to beat down both Falkner and Brock. So I think this could have been cut down pretty fast if I got Lopunny at the start of the game or any other starter. No, I take it back. I needed Lopunny to be at the start of the game so I could actually win, but it was a pretty fun challenge. I want to say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end and making this far. It means a lot to me that you guys support my channel. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. We're back at it again on Saturday. I also upload a bunch of random videos whenever I want because it's my channel. But I want to say thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you all had a great day. And yeah, leave some comment suggestions. You guys have a fun comment. You always have fun challenges for me. Leave some comments down below if you guys made it this far. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you all had a great day. I'm out. I think I said that twice, but whatever. It's my video.